Well, good evening, good evening, good evening. We're back again for another In Search of. Welcome to the New Hope Church Women's Ministry Program In Search of, where we search for the intriguing, the informational, and the controversial, but from a spirit-filled perspective. We're in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and my name is Marie Brathwaite. Let's just open with a word of prayer. Lord, let the words of my mouth, meditation of all our hearts be acceptable in your sight. We ask in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. So we're going to jump into this topic today. And as always, you're welcome to send in questions and we will try and answer them as we go through the program. Our topic today deals with family. Now, family has a plethora of meanings. I chose two. A basic social unit consisting of parents and their children, considered as a group, whether living together or not. Another one is a family consisting of a couple and their children from this and all previous relationships. So using that as my base, I want to explore the blended family. Blended meaning a mix or intermingle smoothly and inseparable. Blended family. The blended family terminology was first recorded in the late 70s, 79, early 80s through the 85. And it was used interchangeably with the former step family, stepfather, stepmother. So now they are saying it is the blended family. And the meaning of a blended family is given as a family consisting of a couple and their children from this and all other previous relationships. Two or more children when at least one is a natural or adoptive child of both partners in the couple. So if that's confused you enough, hopefully by the end of our program, you'll be a little less confused. Tonight, I have the distinct privilege of speaking to two sets of parents that are willing to talk about what it is like to be parents in a blended family. There are many forms of blended families, but tonight we'll only concentrate on these two stories. As I said, they're distinctly different, so it will give you two different perspectives on being a blended family. First, let me introduce you to Harvey and Carice Laguerre. Hi, Harvey and Carice. Thank you so much for being here. They will tell us about their experience as being a blended family. And next we have Marjorie and V. They're not able to do video, but they're more than happy to share their story with us. So welcome, Marjorie and V.
Good evening. Hello.
Hi.
And thank you also for being here this tonight with us. I'm really excited to get through this because it is something that is very prevalent nowadays, especially with the rate of divorces being on the increase. You'll find much more blended families than ever before. So we'll get right into it. Let's start with Marjorie and Harvey. Tell me, Harvey, how did you both meet?
All right. Well, I met Carice while we were working. So we both worked at our job, wherever we were. And just how so we both worked, we telemarketing over the phone. And I just came into work one day, typical. And I turned the corner and there was this woman. And literally, I'm like, that's going to be my wife.
Wow.
It was very simple. Yeah. I mean, and previous to this, I had no intention of getting married ever. I very much decided that wasn't going to happen. Turns out, as hardcore I thought I was about that idea, it just turns out I hadn't seen my wife yet. So once I had seen her, I really had no choice but to marry this woman. So from there, I kind of tried to talk to her, and from then on, eventually it progressed.
Oh, that's called a marriage made in heaven. um, Now let me understand this. What is your blending?
So I, at that point when we met, I had two children, a 4-year-old and a 4-year-old boy and a 2-year-old girl, and he had no children.
Mhm. So that's your blending. He's coming into a family situation.
Yes.
Okay, so let me ask this. How long did you wait before you let him meet your kids?
I don't feel like it was terribly long. We were friends for a while first because I was in a different relationship at the time when we had met and he determined I was his wife. Uh, but once that relationship ended, I want to say, I don't know, maybe about 7 or 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that seems fair. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the children, so the children were still very young, ages what, 4
4, 2.
and 2 when, so Harvey, it wasn't a hard transition for them to accept you um into their little circle.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't even know if it was just a calculated, we're going to meet up for the first time thing. We went to a restaurant and we had lunch all together. And that's when I met the two of them for the first time. And I connected with the daughter, the 2-year-old, quickly because we both like broccoli. So I'd gotten some salad, I got some broccoli, and then she's like, and then I'm like, you want some broccoli? And she had some, and then boom, we were best friends. It connected really quick.
That was a 2-year-old.
The 2-year-old, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It was easy.
Yes, she was simple. Yes.
So what do you have, boy and girl, 2 girls?
Mhm.
So what concerns did you have with the 4-year-old?
I don't think there were really many concerns. I think it was just easier with the 2-year-old because she was younger. Anytime somebody would pick her up, because, me already being a parent at 2 years old, you can walk. Like, I don't need to pick you up, but he would carry her everywhere.
Yes.
And so they were like the best of friends because she didn't ever have to use her feet when he was around. But the 4-year-old, I don't know, he was just kind of in his own little world. So he wasn't resistant, but he also wasn't like, overly open and engaged.
Right.
Is that fair?
Yeah, he was there. He was nice. He wasn't rude or anything, but he was kind of, scoping.
More reserved.
And see,
Yeah.
which is fine. However he responded to me was entirely up to him. He's 4 years old and I'm new. So however he wanted to look at me, he's well within his rights to do so. So
Mm-hmm. So what adjustments, Carice, what adjustments did you have to make when you first decided, you know what, I'm going to marry this man and he's going to be a co-parent with me?
Well, I originally thought that I wouldn't have to make very many adjustments. I actually told him, we had a really open conversation about the idea of living together as we were planning getting married and so forth. I told him that it was going to be really smooth. Like, I'm really easy to live with, but it turns out that I was lying and I didn't even know I was lying. I had some really big control issues, even down to just the way simple things were done, with the kids, oh no, we don't change a diaper like that. Like, when you change a diaper, you have to do this first and then that and then whatever. And he's like, this is not my first time changing a diaper. Like, I think I can do this. The kid's gonna survive. So there was a lot of adjustment because of the fact that, I had been doing so much on my own, and to now allow somebody to come in and to have their own perspective and to, share these tasks with me, it was a lot.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And did you, Harvey, what did you find?
Well, I mean, like she mentioned, I didn't have any kids, so this was the first time that I was kind of being, in that
parent.
being a parent. I don't know, but I mean, we connected a lot before we got married. Obviously, I was around them so much that by the time we got married, I feel like we just kind of connected, and we just kind of smoothed in, went from I'm Harvey, just, dating your mom, till now we're married and we're together. So I'm around, I'm there. So
Mhm.
that wasn't difficult. I mean, eventually then we had, our own biological child, and then that dynamic was a little bit different. But with just the first two that we came into the relationship with, it
Mhm.
was fine. And it was great to have, obviously, mom was there and she was accepting of me, which made it easier, I think, for the kids to accept me also.
Do you think part of that acceptance was because they were so young?
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely. Yeah.
It made it a lot easier.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the older they are, the more resistant they can be. The idea of an adding additional person to a relationship, to something they're used to. When you change a kid's dynamic, I can understand if they'd be resistant, but in this case, they were young, still able to adapt. So I think it worked out well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Carice, this is a little on the more personal side, but did you have a problem with your biological father trying to be a father with another father in the picture?
Very good question. No, we actually didn't have those issues. And that in and of itself was almost an issue. So I had a very absentee partner that was not around a lot of the time. And so it made it less difficult for us to blend. And, even at very early on, the 2-year-old, my daughter was very accepting and calling him dad at originally. And so I think that helped, but it also kind of hurt as things eventually later on, he comes back into the picture and things shift.
Tell me about that, because that is, I know, one of the major concerns of a blended family is the outside influence on that particular family unit. So how did it manifest itself, and how are the children dealing with it?
The children have always had rose-colored glasses in that situation. And I think that's the best way to put it. For as many years as we've been together now, what? 12, 13 years. And now they're 15 and 17. And in all that time, he's been a full-time parent, dad, but then we have this part-time, sometimes maybe biological person who comes in, and that person is like, magical and wonderful and amazing, because there are no boundaries there. There's no rules. There's no anything there. It's just fun times. And so that part is difficult to navigate, because that's when the kids start to really put up a wall. And that's when you'll get little commentary from the children, like, well, you're not my dad, you're my stepdad, or whatever. Yeah.
Harvey, has there ever been a verbal confrontation between you and this particular person?
You mean the biological father?
That one.
To be honest, and I don't want this to come off insulting or anything like that, he's not around enough to have an argument with me. He's not around enough. That would require, we got to be around each other, and he's just not there. He's not present. So no. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind it, because I'm a parent. I have my own biological children. I have 4 kids. 2 of them are mine. And if this situation were reversed, I don't know how I would handle it. I would probably, and good or bad, have an issue with some other man being the father of my kids. So I don't know. I would hope that I would be mature about it and handle it the right way. But I don't know what would happen the first time I saw the guy who's raising my kids. So I kind of was like, okay, I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. But unfortunately, or fortunately for me, that's not the type of parent that he is. So no real issues with him in regards to parenting his kids.
Okay. Then and part of that is the mystery and the intrigue and the fascination for them with this part-time dad, as opposed to, oh, he's here all the time, so it's not as exciting, not as
Yeah.
Do they call you, do both of them call you dad?
No, they call me they call me Harvey.
They call him Harvey. I think our daughter might more so. If she needs something, like if she wants something and she's ready for it, she'll throw out a dad.
And he'll melt.
Yeah.
Okay. So the he doesn't really interfere with the management and your parenting, because he's just really not there.
Yeah.
Right.
No. And so in that regard, it's a very smooth co-parenting situation because it'll just be, can I hang out with the kids? They hang out for a day and then
He's gone
for a few months.
Right.
Yeah.
Harvey, do you ever introduce them as your stepchildren?
No,
No, they're your children.
those are my kids. All four of them are my kids. So yeah, that seems kind of extra. That's not really my thing. They're more apt to say, "Oh, that's my stepdad" or whatever. But these are my kids, and that's how I would introduce them.
And how do you feel when they introduce you as their stepdad?
It is what it is. I mean, I do my best to not take things personal from children. This is not a typical, I mean, it's a more typical situation. But I mean, because I'm a stepchild too. I mean, my parents married and divorced, so I've had step parents, so I understand that. So they introduce me however they see fit, however they're most comfortable with it. And I don't take any, I don't take any offense to it because in the end, they're children.
Has it caused any rift in your marriage at all?
Any rift? No.
I don't think so.
No, I think no. I mean, what do you mean in terms of how we raise them?
Right.
I don't think so. No, I mean,
no, not with being blended. I mean, we have just normal. So we have 4 altogether, 2 from my previous relationship and 2 together. And overall, as a married couple, we come across little things where we parent somewhat different, but we treat all of them exactly the same. And so there's nothing specific to our blending situation that causes a rift.
So how old are your children now, the 2 of you?
6 and 11.
Okay. And for them, they were born into the situation, so there's no disparity for them. But how about how the other 2 treat these 2?
I think they were raised as siblings, so they don't know any different. They're just all together, and they know each other as sisters or brother and whatever, and no half sister, half brother, anything like that.
So they don't use that terminology.
No, not at all.
That's my sister, that's my brother.
Exactly.
So is it 2 girls and 2 boys?
3 girls, 1
3
boy.
girls and 1 boy. Okay. The king of the roost.
Yeah, I guess so.
So I know that you've recently moved to Florida.
Yeah.
And then how are they adjusting to that?
Better than I am.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. I might have some more questions later, but let me flip over to Marjorie and V. Marjorie and V have a totally different scenario, but a blended family. And that's what I was saying earlier. There's so many different ways that you can talk about a blended family. So I was so happy when they said they would be a part of this program, because it does give you a whole different view of a blended family. Marjorie and V, are you there?
We are here.
Hi. Thank you for being with us. You have a slightly different story of a blended family. Could you give us a little background history and how your blending came about?
Um, well, from the beginning or just how we
Yes.
met? Okay.
Yeah,
Well, this,
I'd like to know how the two of you got together, and because that will there will be some. I'll be asking you something about your relationship later. So yes, how did
okay.
you first get together?
Vish and I met. He's a DJ, so we met at a club, and in 2000, September of 2000. So, and we've been together since. So it'll be 21 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
wonderful. Okay, and was it like Harvey and Carice? Was it almost love at first sight?
Yes, it was actually. Um, Harvey felt, my husband felt the same way that Harvey felt. He
Mhm.
saw me and he just knew I was going to be his wife.
Wow.
It was just the right thing to say at the moment.
So how long have you all been married now? You said 21 years, right?
Well, together 21 years, and next month in a few weeks we'll be married 17 years.
Oh, you know, there's many of us, that's many of us who can't say that. So that is wonderful. That is wonderful. So let me hear how your family became blended.
V has a sister, and she suffers from mental health issues, and she has three children, one older and then two little ones. And that's how we ended up with our niece and nephew. We got Alyssa and Joshua when they were 3 and 4 years old. So the state took them from her multiple occasions, and this was the final straw. And we got a phone call to pick them up at the daycare, and BSO was there at the daycare, and we picked them up, and we've had them since.
Wow. So let me just get the scenario in my head. Um, is this an older or younger sister for you?
An older sister.
She's an older sister. And she's had these mental issues since how long?
Honestly, it was, it was just normal. I mean, she was normal in the sense of, she was married, happily married at the time, living in New York, and um, it was after her divorce. I guess she went into like depression per
Mhm.
se, and that's when we started seeing different signs, a little, signs here and there, but we didn't really take it that serious until she finally met someone else.
Mhm.
And at the time, she was pregnant for our daughter. Now, um, she my father passed right before she gave birth. So at that time, it was very traumatic for her as well. So she was going through, I guess they call it postpartum depression.
Yes.
But she was okay. Everything was great, and then the following year, she was pregnant again with um, our son now. And at that time, her her significant other had got deported pretty much, and now she was on her own with the two, and she wasn't working at the time, and it became very stressful for her. And once that her he was born, it was like she just went in postpartum depression again. And at this time, it sunk in where there was so many things that were going on that we had to save the kids. In the sense that sometimes they may not they wouldn't get fed or not watched over in a sense because she was almost glaring into the just looking in the sky and just just not here, and not paying attention to what's going on. So we worked with her, and for a couple, like about a year or two, until it got to a point where the state was going to take the kids.
Mhm.
And at that time, we were called to see if we can fly up to New York to at least get the kids, because there was no one else there to take them, and the state would take them. So that's pretty much how everything started.
So did you all have a conversation? All right, let me start it this way. Did you all have children at the time all of this was occurring?
Yes.
We had a son
Mhm.
and a daughter.
Okay, so you already had two children.
Yes.
We were very already established, family.
Mhm. And then you got this call. Did you all have a conversation? How was the decision made that, yeah, we're going to take these two children?
Actually, the kids were. It wasn't the first time that the state took the kids from her. We always ended up with them for maybe a couple of days or a week, and then she would do her family plan with CPS, and then she would get them back. So our kids knew their cousins and would hang out, with them. Joshua was only 3, and Alyssa was 4. So my daughter at the time was 6, and our son was 8. So they knew who they were. So when the call came in for us to pick them up, Vish, the 4 of us hadn't spoken about us keeping them.
It was temporary.
It was just, oh, this is another one of those calls. V went and picked them up, and they came to the house. CPS, when they come to the house, they have to check water, refrigerator, make sure all that stuff is working. We didn't expect them to stay, but then it ended up they, couple of weeks and a couple of months, and they never left. So the talk that we had with our children, our 2 biological, happened after the kids came, when we realized that, okay, this is probably going to be it. We're going to have to make a decision. So V and I, we spoke, but we just thought it was temporary. We don't want the kids in the foster care system. They're his biological niece and nephew. And, our girls, well, my daughter and our adopted daughter, hanging out and stuff like that. So it was nothing at first.
So this decision was essentially just thrust on you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's how. Yes, we feel that it was, and then we eventually, we started going to court, because now, my sister-in-law was not following with her treatment plan, and reunification process. She, everything stalled because she just wasn't following her plan. And that just prolonged. Every time she was supposed to get the kids back, it prolonged it. Then V and I started now having to go to court, because the state wanted to see how the kids are doing. So now that's how now we got really involved, because now we were actively going to court probably once a month.
Which we became, which we now had custody, of the kids.
We were their
guardianship.
Yeah, we became their guardians.
They were still
it was still, it was guardianship. Now we had custody of the kids, because they were wards of the state. But if not, somebody had to take them. We already had them, because she wasn't doing what she needed to do. So then, we decided, okay, we already have them. They're already in daycare. We already had them in daycare. We already going through counseling. When you're going through something like that, they involve ChildNet, and different agencies that offer counseling. So all 6 of us were going through some type of counseling. So, yeah. So,
at the same time, the judge did ask if we wanted to adopt at the time, but we did, want to give my sister the opportunity to get better so that way they can, reunify with, she could reunify with her kids
And
at
to
the
be
time.
and to be honest, we were not trying to adopt. Like at that time, we wanted our picture perfect family, our boy and girl, and me and him, our white picket fence. That's what we wanted. So we were basically just holding them for her while she got, her act together. But she never did. Unfortunately, she never did.
And just to for, even with the kids and for us, we needed something solid, because there was too many uncertainties after, you know 4 years have passed, and we've gone so much, and we grown together, to learn to live with each other, and sharing that emotion, and being able to give everyone affection and attention. That was a challenge. So at the time, we just decided at that time, this may be what we need to do for the kids' sake, and just to let them know that they're safe, because they weren't too sure where they're gonna be placed. They didn't have like a concrete foundation per se for them. So that's when we end up deciding to say, you know what, we spoke with them. We had a conversation with our kids there, with them, and everyone was with agreed that they wanted to become, let's become one family. And once we had those conversations and everybody agreed, then that's when we decided to proceed with the adoption, which took a year
Wow.
for the adoption process. Yeah.
So, Marjorie was saying you had your picture perfect with, your wife and husband, your little boy and your little girl. What is it, 1.5 or 2.5 kids or whatever they say. And your home was set up for you and your two kids. And now you have these other two kids. So what adjustment in your living arrangements did you have to make? Did you have to move to a bigger house?
Good
That's a
question.
great question.
Great question. I just want to I want to say that we had Alyssa and Joshua since they were 3 and 4. We decided to do the adoption in 2017.
Yeah.
That's how long of a process that it took. But we had a condo, a 2-bedroom condo we bought in 2000 when we got married. We had our son.
2004.
I'm sorry, in 2000. And we got married. We had our son, so he had the second room. Then we had our daughter. She was a baby. She slept with us in our room. So our condo was perfect for the 4 of us. Then we got Alyssa and Josh, and the kids just grew. All of them grew in the home. They adjusted. We bought bunk beds, and everyone adjusted to having 6 of us in the house. The bunk beds, the boys on one side, the girls on one side, the closet. The girls shared their clothes. The boys, of course, not, because our oldest was a whole lot older. But it came a time in 2019 that our condo association, now the kids are older, we received a letter from the lawyer of the condo association saying that we have too many people in our condo. It's five people for a 2-bedroom.
Bylaw. Yeah.
And so now,
Really?
yeah. So we ended up getting an attorney ourselves, but through like ChildNet, through the services that we were getting. And everyone was saying, oh, you know what? They can't do that. They can't do that. You're adopting the kids. They can't do that. But anyway, we had a meeting with the attorney for the association and the entire board. And they basically, gave us an ultimatum. They have bylaws in place at the condos, and you have to follow their laws and their rules. And it is 5 people per room. Now we didn't, 5 people per condo. We weren't thinking about that. We're thinking, okay, we have, there's 6 of us. We never looked at the bylaws again when we bought the condo. So that that changed our living situation, because now it forced us to have to go and try to find someplace to live in a short amount of time. And we weren't 100% ready or even thinking about doing that. But by the grace of God, we were able to purchase a home 2 years ago, and it's perfect. I have my fence. I have my
Is it white?
It's not white. It's tan, a brownish tan fence, with our 4 children and husband and wife. That's not, we wanted the condo, but because our family size grew, we had to move, and we moved. And so we left. That was charged.
Wow, I can't believe what were they going to do? Put you out on the street?
But yeah, that's what I asked. That was the question I posed. I said, what do you want me to do? Get rid of one child? And they were like, you guys got to do something. And I was so hurt, because it almost felt like, what are we going to do at this point?
Mhm.
And we prayed about it. We had there's many times that, we sat and, we shed tears and didn't know what to do and where to go with the situation, and didn't know how we, ended up in this situation. And we just try to push each other and stay positive. We continue to pray, and honestly, God had a plan for us that we didn't know. And everything just fell in place at the right time. I can't even explain, how everything happened. Everything fell in place.
And as you're going, and as you're going through it, you don't see that.
Mhm.
You don't see it, because we definitely don't see it. But now that we sit back and we think about it, we're like, wow. And I must say, having a family support system also helps. My family is the best.
Mhm.
My aunts and uncles are the best. So with them like counseling us,
Mhm.
because that's what helped us to even make the decision to even do the adoption. Everything else just fell into place.
Yeah, everything fell into place. It did.
Wow.
We,
So
we
tell me
went. We were
something.
down.
Mhm. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. No,
No,
go
no, no.
ahead. No, I was saying, at the time when everything happened, I had just lost my job when we had this meeting with the lawyer. So it was only my wife working at the time. So it was really, it was a lot of, it was a dark time for us.
You'll have to do another. You'll have to do another Zoom for that.
Wow. So that was a whole lot of external pressure. So tell me about internally. Now, I know your children almost grew up together, but your biological kids were old enough to understand that this was not mom and dad's children. So did you have any problems? I don't want to say problems necessarily, but concerns, behavioral concerns, between the children, because that's, I kids, that's my mommy, that's not your mommy, it's my daddy, and did you have any of those kind of concerns and carrying on in the house?
None of that, but um our daughter is very, very, very affectionate. And that was a problem. Our son, he just rolled with the punches. He went with the flow. The kids are here, the kids are here. He was the oldest, he was doing his own thing. But our biological daughter is very, very affectionate. So now you have her, that you have this other little girl that comes in the house. And we don't have clothes for her yet. So she's wearing her clothes. She's playing with her toys. Then we get, well, when is she leaving? Because now somebody's in her space.
Mhm.
The little one, Joshua has had behavioral issues from when we first got him. So he was the youngest. So he didn't even like it didn't really bother him. He went with the flow too. It was the girls.
Mhm.
Um up the years, just the fighting, our daughter hugging me, hugging her dad. That's just unconditional love, just doing it just because. Not to rub it in, but just, because that's my mom and dad, and that's what she's supposed to do. But our adopted daughter, very reserved, because I know I don't belong here. These are not my mom and dad. This is my aunt and uncle. So that took time, but it was never, oh, that's my mom, that's my dad. The kids never fought that way. They
Mhm.
actually fought how siblings would fight, you know
Over
um
things.
yeah, exactly, over the
Mhm.
dolls and the clothes and the shoes and this and that. They still fight today, but it's not like it used to be before. These are sisters. They're sisters, and they argue like sisters. Where's my
Mhm.
comb? Where's my brush? Why did you take my earrings? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? It's never, we've never um created any animosity in our home between the kids at all.
That was one of
Maybe
the
they,
questions I was going to ask. Do you find yourself even subconsciously favoring one set over the other?
of course, at in the beginning, yes. Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, I was there to in the beginning we were there to help. We were there to help, and subconsciously, like, you have a biological child, you have an unconditional love for a child that grew within you for 9 months,
Mhm.
versus a child. And I have to say this for two kids that came to us that already had behavioral issues. So the attention that they got was more, we were trying to train them. They were not potty trained. The little one didn't even talk for a whole year.
Mhm.
So they went through their own issues with their biological mom, that caused them to come to us in a way that we had to basically, we had to read books, like, we needed counseling to figure out, okay, how do we handle this behavior, the banging the head in the wall. And I mean, it was that we have our kids, they were already trained and basically raised. Then we had the other two, so now we kind of had to put it together. So we didn't favor because we didn't love them. We favored because the one set already got all the love that they needed from the beginning, and the other two did not. And we had to kind of,
Make the
we had to
change. Yeah,
yeah,
make the
we had
change.
to make the change and kind of go backwards, and now try to get them out of all the bad, that they went through. So an outsider looking in could say, oh, well, he, our little one is sitting down here, but everyone else is playing. But it's not because we don't love him. It's because, of other reasons.
Mhm.
So, but we never show the kids favoritism. We don't show favoritism. It's more so everybody's on their own learning growth or own learning path. And um that's just how we had to run the house like
Right.
that.
The key was, it was never favoritism. Um, if there was favoritism, it would be something that would happen, you know, subconsciously. Like you would just, it would just happen without, just naturally. But overall, you know, the thing was is that with Julian, he was able to get more of our time. Anaya, at the time, she when we had them, she was only what, 4,
Yeah.
so around that time. So
6.
6, yeah. So it was now like I wanting to spoil my daughter kind of thing, and I kind of didn't get to do that because now you have to be conscious of what, with the other kids, because now you're trying to share that emotion, but then you don't want the other one to feel different. So it's almost like it was a battle on trying to hide sometimes the emotions for the sake of the other, someone else's feelings, if that makes sense. So
Yes.
it was very challenging even up to, recent, but we've grown with that and got to the point that we wanted everything to happen natural. We didn't want, we didn't, I didn't like, I did it as an adult. I had to hug you. I hugged everyone. Even maybe if I was upset and I didn't want to do it, I still did it, only because they're children, they're not going to understand. So, we still wanted to do it. However, I just feel that we continue to just treat everyone equally, and it just automatically it's grown at this point. Everything is happening naturally. If there's a hug, it's coming from inside. If we're doing something, it's coming from the heart, and that takes time. It doesn't happen naturally.
So you're saying, in essence, you've gotten past the having to consciously think about what you're doing and showing affection or holding back affection, or, oh wait, I just kissed her, I need to kiss her too, and I need to hug
Correct.
him. It's good. You're now getting past that to it's just occurring.
Yeah, in better words, that's correct. Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
And do you think the children see it in that light, that you've gotten past that mechanical, got to think about it, to just natural, okay, there's no thought that the hug I just got was meant for me from the heart? Do you think they've gotten to that point?
With the kids, I think my husband and I couldn't have done this without the counseling that we got,
Mm-hmm.
because it was hard overall for everyone in their own respective way.
Mm-hmm.
And the counselor that we had was great. I mean, she addressed each person. She addressed each person privately. She would have their own sessions. So in us all talking, she picked up on things. And so during the counseling sessions, she brought those things out, to let the kids talk, all of them, let myself talk, let my husband talk. So yeah, I think the kids, I don't know, I can't say if they ever felt that way, because they never said it to us. I think it's more, of a conversation that is just understood, that you just don't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's more so, how are you feeling, and things like that, but not, did you feel, that she played favoritism here or there. But over the years, because this has been going on for so long, that we have those talks with the kids. We take them out. We take the girls out. We go to lunch. We do dinner. We go here. We go there. We have game night and we talk. Now I see the change in the kids from when we first got them to now. I mean, it's gotten a whole lot better, where the kids now, they're actually now talking. They're openly talking and having conversation, and they weren't like that before, but they're doing it because now, they feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm. Tell me something. Do you think their mother is not in their lives at all?
The adoption that we did was a closed adoption. She is around in the beginning. After the adoption, I mean, she would see the kids at family functions. But it became to be, we'd go to a family function, and this is where she would want to come hug up on the kids and want to spend time and like bothering them, now you want to be a mom at a family function, and the kids are there for the function, not for you. So
Mhm.
a few situations happened until V and I finally just said, you know what, we had to make the decision that if she's around, then we're not going to be there, because it's not fair to the kids. We're trying to build something with them, and then now it reverts back every time they see you, and then when they come home with us, we get
The backlash.
the resentment, a
Yes.
lot of resentment, just looking very depressed, and and I feel them, like, why doesn't my mom want me?
Mhm.
They never said that, but that's how they behave. Like, we don't belong here. These are not my parents. These are my aunt and uncle. Here's my mom. Why can't I go to her? So in order for us to build something with them and build our family and build our home, she couldn't be in the picture. She
Mhm.
she she can't. She couldn't. And so now that it's been so long, the kids now, if they see her, which they haven't seen her in a long time, they already know that, you know, just go, you have fun with your cousins and you hang out. And if she comes to you, you just walk away. Walk away.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow. What a story. What a story. And what a blessing you've been. I know, you know, for parents, raising your own biological kids comes with a whole lot of issues and ups and downs. Then you had it, your biological kids and your adopted kids, and it wasn't a conscious decision. It was kind of just put on you. And to know that the two of you together rose to that occasion to make a life of these children, it's a wonderful story and testimony of the love that the two of you share for each other, because without that base you could not have extended it to these kids and make your marriage and your family unit work as a blended situation. So kudos to you. Oh, this has been, I could go on and on and on. Carice and Harvey, if you had one word of advice to a family that is actually starting out the way you did, coming into a blended situation, um, what advice would you give them?
I personally would say be patient. It's going to affect every person differently, and you just got to be patient because time will be the healer of all.
Mhm.
Mhm.
For me, I come with a little bit. I mean, I was a stepchild to begin with. I grew up as one. So I kind of come from both sides. What I would say is that I think we forget how intuitive kids really are. Kids know when you're fake. Kids know when you're trying to do something to gain their favor. So what I would say is patience is definitely true. Be honest and be genuine with kids, especially when you weren't there in the beginning. Just be there, and you're gonna have to follow their lead. Some kids will just jump to you. Some kids need time. It's intimate's not the right word, but it's a big change. That's a relationship that you're building, and it
Mhm.
takes time. So if you are going to be in a blended family, follow the lead of the child. Don't try to push them. Let them come to you when they're ready. When they come to you on their own, you're going to be great. If you try to force something, it's not going to work out well. So, and I think we should do that with children in general. We follow kids' leads, and you do that. Then when they're comfortable, that's when you're at your best. So that's my advice.
Marjorie and V, if you had one advice you could give to somebody who, because your situation is totally different, was in your situation or going into your situation, what would that advice be?
Well, my advice would be to think about the kids and the impact that your decision can make for them. That's why we did, what we did, because we didn't want them being raised by strangers. They didn't ask for that. What they ask for and what they need is love from family. Although they're not our biological children, they need love. So just if you're going to adopt, just know that the adoption is going to make an impact, a positive impact on that child's life. It gives them a life. It gives them hope. It gives them dreams instead of living in foster care.
Mhm.
All the heartache and everything else that you go through to get there, in the end, when you see the kids' accomplishments, you can sit back and say you did that. Yeah.
For me, I'm big on this because me early out, me and my wife, we had counseling on our own, for our own reasons, and because of that, that's helped us even be strong. Become stronger in what we have been doing with the kids. Is like Harvey would know, is the core, is me and my wife really holding the core. And what I mean by core is not letting anything else interrupt our decisions and what we want to do. It's us, then outside of us is the kids and our parents, and outside of that is the friends and family. So when going through this situation, there's going to be a lot of people in your ear. There's going to be people telling you what you should do, what you shouldn't do. And the main thing is you and me and my spouse, we communicated, supported each other's decisions, and keeping that core part strong allowed the kids to be able to flourish and for them to grow. Because if we were on a bad page, none of this would be where it's at this time.
Okay. Okay. As I said earlier, there are many examples of a blended family. Um, the concept of a family is not new. The Bible is full of blended family stories. When you think of it, Jesus himself came from a blended family situation. We, from all walks of life, every creed, every color, are joined together as a blended family under God. God has put a tremendous amount of love in our hearts. Use it. Do not be afraid to share that love with others. Whether blended, mixed, or straight, family is everything. In Psalms 127, verse 3 through 5, children are a heritage from the Lord, offspring a reward from him. Like arrows in the hands of a warrior are children born in one's youth. Blessed is the man whose quiver is full of them. He shall not be put to shame when he speaks with his enemies in the gate. Psalms 127, 3 through 5. Harvey, Carice, Marjorie, and V, enjoy your heritage. And I thank you so much for agreeing to be part of this program and to share with us your very personal stories about being in a blended family with all its vicissitudes.
Thank you for having us.
Um, so we've come to the end of our program, and we're gonna just ask you all to join our women's ministry team next month on Sunday, July the 11th at 10 a.m. for our prayer breakfast, and Thursday, July 22nd at 7 p.m. For another In Search Of. Let's just say a word of prayer before we close. And thank you, my guests. Thank you so very much. May the Lord bless and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift his countenance upon you and give you peace, is my prayer. Amen. Good night, all, and thank you.